Very warm good afternoon to all the students of ICSI. I, Gitanjali Singh Rathod, Deputy Director ICSI, welcome you all at this motivational and inspirational webinar. The webinar is being organized for all the students of the Institute and in particular for the students who are appearing in June 2023 examination. We are privileged to have with us young and dynamic IAS officer, Mr. Avi Prasad, as our chief guest today. He is an inspiration to all our students, and I am elated to inform you that he has been our student also. Today is a special day for us for one more reason, as we are also celebrating the International Day of Biological Diversity. The United Nations has proclaimed May 2022 the International Day for Biological Diversity to increase the understanding and awareness of biodiversity issues. Students, believe me, a lot of takeaways from today's webinar. Now, let's start this webinar with these powerful words. Inspiration does exist, but it must find you working. Now, further ado, let's begin today's webinar. We are greatly honored to have with us special guests today. A very warm welcome to all of them. President sir could not join due to some exigency. We are privileged to have with us our VP sir, CSB Narasimhan. The way you lead your team is incredible, sir. You have made significant improvements in various processes related to our students and members. We welcome you, sir. We are honored to have you here amongst us today. We also have with us Mr. A.K. Srivastava, Joint Secretary, Directorate of Student Services, Administration and Coordination. So he's handling a lot of directorates. Sir has a widespread working experience in ICSI and has dealt mostly with the students. Students, I now feel immensely happy to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, IAS Avi Prasad, Collector and District Magistrate, Katni MP. He is known for his high achievements, though through his dedication and hard work, he cracked civil services exam at such a young age and qualified for the post of IAS officer. His journey will surely inspire you all in many ways. We welcome you, sir. We are sure that this webinar is going to be one of the best motivational webinar for our students. I once again welcome all. I now feel extremely privileged to request our Vice President, Sir CSB Narasimhan, to deliver a welcome address. We welcome you once again, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Gitanjali. Good afternoon to all of you. Sri Avi Prasad, IAS, Collector and District Magistrate, Katni. Mr. A.K. Srivastava, Joint Secretary, Student Services. Amongst others, he also handles administration, etc. And Gitanjali, Deputy Director, Student Services, and my dear students. I know the examinations are just around the corner, and therefore we thought it fit to bring our own one of our own member who has reached the highest, one of the highest level of pinnacle, I would say, of glory, and to share his thoughts on how to motivate each one of you to get through these exams in all glory. Let me also share my own experience. Of course, I did my MA Economics before venturing into ACS, and I passed out my CS way back in the year 1978. That tells you how young I am, right? And in those days, the pass percentage used to be around less than 5%, 2 to 5% was the average pass percentage, and it was extremely tough. I was not a commerce student. I did my Economics MA. And I didn't know, for want of things better to do, I said, let me join CS, and I passed out in 78. So that is my beginning. And those days, the most difficult part was we used to have 2 examinations in a day. Morning, 1 examination, and afternoon, 1 examination. And those were extremely difficult times. And that was the instant stage at which the institute was. And therefore, the cost of each center was a big burden, financial burden on the institute. And therefore, the number of centers was limited, and the number of days for which the exams were held were also limited. But anyway, having done that, and this is my 4th term in the council before I moved in before I got elected as the Vice President of the institute. Well, friends, I know it's the exams are around the corner. I know the butterflies in your stomach, but I think the one thing is you need to make sure is, yes, have a firm belief have a grip on the subject, and work towards getting glory in the subject in which you are going to write. You know, as Alexander the Great has said, there is nothing impossible to those who will try. And therefore, I want each one of you to put your best foot forward and make sure that you get through successfully in this examination. The first thing for you to have success is, I believe that you should have a firm belief that you will be able to succeed. That's the first step towards achieving success. A belief is not merely an idea the mind possesses, but one that possesses the mind. Just see the wordplay will tell you how belief can take you further. In order to succeed, we must first believe that we can. That's again very important. And finally, the only limits you have are the limits you are going to believe in. Now, mark my words, you believe that you will get through, you will definitely get through. There should not be any worry at all. In fact, as Theodore Roosevelt has also said, believe you can, and you are halfway through. Believe you can, you are halfway through. And that is what I feel you should all be achieving, trying to work towards it. I would also like to quote Albert Einstein here. In order to succeed, your desire for success should be far greater than your fear of failure. So you should have the greatest, you should believe that you can do it. And most importantly, your desire for success should be far greater than the fear of failure. And if you do that, I'm sure you'll be coming out successful in the examination. Last but not the least, again, I'd like to quote Winston Churchill for all of you. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I'm sure a couple of you may not be able to go through, but don't hesitate. You should, and you should come out successfully. And I can tell you, this course has a lot of, at my age at 71, I'm telling you, I'm into practice. So that itself should give you the confidence that you will be able to get your lifelong working environment once you do this course and come out successfully. And I wish each one of you all the very best in the examination. Don't worry. I tell you honestly, you pray to God. Yes, you do. Believe, take your blessings of the elders as the first thing which you do, and rest of it will come your way. And I wish you all the very best. God bless you all. Thank you. Over to you, Geeta.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your words of wisdom. That was indeed inspirational and so motivational. Your thought-provoking and motivational address is inspiration to all of us and for all our students. You always connect with the students and motivate them immensely. Students, it's a proud moment for all of us as we are witnessing the presence of Mr. Avi Prasad, who is an IAS officer. On behalf of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, I once again welcome our chief guest. We are grateful to you for accepting our invitation and becoming chief guest of today's event. Before we listen to him, let me give his brief introduction. Mr. Avi has done Bachelor's of Law from University of Delhi, Master's in Management, Business Law from National Law University, Jodhpur, and Bachelor's in International Business and Finance, Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. His working experience from August 2014 to the present includes IAS Madhya Pradesh cadre, held the position of Subdivisional Magistrate at Balaghat, Ujjain, Khargone District's Chief Executive Officer, Jila Panchayat, Siddhi and Raisen, and Additional Collector, Ujjain. Presently, he is posted as Collector and District Magistrate, Katni, since November 2022. From December 2013 to August 2014, he had served as an Indian Police Service. Prior to that, he held managerial positions in few more organizations. He has been an academically bright student throughout and received many accolades and awards. He received gold medal for securing highest marks in public administration during phase 1 of IAS professional training at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, Uttarakhand. Many more academic accolades to his credit. He has been associated with various professional bodies of national repute as visiting faculty or in various other capacities. Besides that, he has many publications to his credit, which have been published in acclaimed journals. We are happy to have you amongst us today. I now request the Honorable Chief Guest to address the gathering and cast the light of his knowledge upon us. Over to you, Mr. Avi. We once again welcome you.
Thank you, Gitanjali ji. Thank you, Narsimhan Saab. Narsimhan Saab was speaking about the butterflies that the student must be having. Now, I'm also having this butterflies in my stomach because this is one of the first motivationals I'm ever doing. Now, having said that straight, Gitanjali's introduction might have given an impression that I was always a very academically oriented student with all those gold medals. Actually, one of them, the gold medal was actually in gold. So that's a very happy position that I have. But yes, I have 3 or 4 gold medals during my career, as an academic career. But I was anything but a good student. And I was anything but a focused student. And this is a part of my journey which I want to share with the students, because I want to tell them that there is no straitjacket formula for success. Success depends on many factors. Those of us who believe in a God will say that God's will have an important role. Some believe in destiny. In my experience, luck has a very important role. And most important is the support from mentors and well-wishers. So success depends on all these factors. So now, instead of telling you that I had these many failures and however everything turned out to be fine, I'll take you through my journey and you will discover for yourself that I didn't follow any straitjacket formula, that I'll do this, then this will lead to this, and this is how I will end up. So I come from a place, Sitapur in Uttar Pradesh. It's a primarily rural area. And my family background was such that there were no professionals, no doctors, no engineers, no lawyers, no chartered accountants, no company secretaries. In fact, there was nobody even in a private job, leave aside the government job. So the very idea that you study hard and you take admission in a good course and then you pass certain examination and you will have a career was alien to me. This very idea was alien, that studying is important for a particular end. However, I was always fond of reading. And I'll emphasize on this because for our good luck or bad luck, a company secretary has to read a lot. So I was always fond of reading, but then there weren't many books. So I started with comics. Till the age of 8, 9, till class 10, 12, I was mostly reading comics. And that's how I became fond of reading. Now from comics, I graduated to the books that the elders in my house had. So my grandmother would have Bhagavad, my grandfather would have Gita. So I read them. I didn't understood most of them, but I went through the written word and I developed a fondness for reading. This fondness for reading will come to my aid in later career. So like I said, that the very idea that I will become something. Now I still find it very interesting when young children are being asked, ki bade hoke kya banoge? What will you become when you grow up? And they have a very concrete answer that I'll become a doctor, I'll become a cop, I'll become a collector. But I had no such inclinations about who I want to be. And so when I cleared class 12, I had no idea how do you get into admission in any of the IITs, any of the IIMs, any of the NITs. I'm not saying that I went to a bad school. Many of my classmates actually appeared for these engineering exams and medical examinations and they cleared it. But I didn't have any such idea and I didn't fill any form. Now, here is the first pointer that it's okay to be confused in life. It's okay if you don't have all the answers right now. Because when I was 16, I didn't even know how do you get into IIT. All I knew was I liked history. and I can make some chemistry. I can solve some equations of inorganic chemistry. So I told my father that I will study either history or chemistry. Look at the choices that I have, either history or chemistry. I went to Delhi University, but because my marks were so low, the Delhi, even in those days, Delhi admission percentage used to be 90 or 92%. I don't know. Now probably they have an entrance examination, but at that time it was all cutoff based, and I was in low 70s. So I got admission in some college, but my father was advised by his well-wishers that these courses had no potential. So he asked me, why don't you try engineering? I said, okay, this looks to be an interesting idea. Somebody has asked me to do engineering. I said, okay, engineering. So he packed me off to Kota. I lived in Kota for 2 years, and I met some of the most brilliant people in my life for the first time. People who went on to score very high ranks in IITs, and now they have their own startups and doing very well. I, on the other hand, learned to live independently. I was not living with my parents, so I learned to live independently, how to manage my finances. And finally, Kota was a big place, so I had a relatively big place. So I had access to good novels. I read a lot of novels. And most important, I made some good friends. Some of them are still my good friends. Now, the first pointer I have given you is it's okay to be confused. Now, after 2 years of engineering coaching, I become somewhat okay, and I cleared some okayish engineering colleges examination. Now, you might ask, why didn't I end up becoming an engineer? I didn't become an engineer because at that time, there was no smartphone. So to check our email, we had to go to a cyber cafe. I don't know if you know this idea of a cyber cafe. Now I don't know if they even exist now, but there used to be cyber cafe. We have to access the internet, we have to go to a cyber cafe. I didn't go to cyber cafe for a week or so. And by that time, emails have arrived in my inbox that I have to appear for counseling. Since I didn't check those emails, I never appeared for the counseling, and I didn't become an engineer. So point number 2, luck and destiny. Even though I cracked the engineering examinations, but I thought that somebody will call me or somebody will send me a letter at least, because the admission card used to come, the entrance examination card used to come by post. So I thought even the counseling letter will come by post. I didn't check the email. So I didn't become an engineer, and again, luck and destiny, back to square one, 2 years. Now, some of you might think like this, that I have failed this attempt, June attempt I have failed, December attempt I have failed. So 1 year gone. So I spent 2 years, didn't check the mail, back to square one, again went to Delhi, and again went to Delhi, and again thought that maybe now I should do a traditional course from a traditional college, which I wanted to do 2 years ago. And this is the time my father sought advice from a family friend. So he was a student, he was an alumni of Jamia Millia Islamia. So he said Jamia does not have a cutoff based system of examination. There is entrance based examination system. So why don't you go and try your luck in the entrance? If you clear the entrance, you might get admission. So I appeared for the entrance examination and I cleared it. So finally I have a college to go to. So then again, here again, an important lesson that often in life, you need mentors who have your good interest at heart. This is important. Had I not sought advice from that friend, he would have never told me that there exists an examination where you don't need percentage like the Delhi University, but you can appear in the examination and clear. Now, when I entered this course, it was a good, very exotic sounding course, bachelor's in international business and finance, and we had all those fancy things, international financial management and all. But other than my course, I was interested in knowing about the world. Like I said, I came from a very small town, so my exposure was limited. And I wanted to discover about literature, theater, play, music. So I attended my classes, but most of my time was spent in attending music concerts. I went to see plays at the National School of Dramas. I even tried my hand at writing some bad plays. Uh, and and finally, I had Delhi has this great culture of public libraries. So I enrolled in 6, 7 libraries, and every day I'll visit 1 or 2 of them. And whatever my card allowed, 3 or 4 books, I'll withdraw from every library. And for a week, I'll have 20 books, and I'll finish reading 4 or 5 of them in a week. So this is what I did. And I watched a lot of movies. I was very fond of movies then, and I'm very fond of movies now, because movies are basically you experience lives of others in a very simple and easy to observe format. So I was very fond of films then. And most importantly, I met a lot of people and listened to their stories. Now, this was my first experience, because I went to a university where there were 60 different faculties. Somebody was studying fine art, somebody was studying Arabic, somebody was studying engineering, somebody was studying n number of subjects, somebody was studying mass communication. And the students belong to different parts of the country. So I learned to observe that how race, class, gender, caste, these things divide us. And I discovered what being an Indian is amidst all this diversity. Now, this lesson was to always inspire my thinking about issues, because I realized that our perspective about things changes depending upon where we come from and what identity we have assumed for ourselves. So as company secretaries, you will be sitting in various board rooms listening to the discussions between the board members. And as one of the management gurus famously wrote, that the bloodiest battles are not fought on the battlegrounds, but in the boardrooms of the company boards. So you will realize that the world is divided into many isms. So there's feminism, there's communism, there's secularism, there's conservatism, there's liberalism. So appreciate that there are different perspectives to one issue. And a lesson which I learned was that you can be very sure, very angry that why others can't see your perspective, and learn to discover later that you were very wrong. So you can be very sure and very wrong at the same time. So this is one thing which I learned from listening to others. Now, I started to feel keenly that the world is divided between haves and have-nots. There's this much injustice. And I was in college between 2005 to 8. Now, as a student of financial regulation, you must go back in a bit of financial history and realize that was the best time to be a student of financial regulation. Because the Lehman crisis was happening, 2007, Freddie Mae and the Freddie Mac failed, the mortgage crisis happened. And the impact of that mortgage crisis was when Lehman started to have problems. The big banks actually started to have problems. So I discovered that all that reading that I have done in the last 3 years, and also my background in international business and finance that I was studying in college, I realized that finance is an instrument of equitable distribution to bridge the gap between haves and have-nots. It depends on whatever theory you might have. You might believe in the trickle down, that the prosperity will happen at the top and then it will become to the bottom. Or you might subscribe to the theory that first we have to develop the masses in the health and the education, and then everything will develop. You can subscribe to any philosophy, but to implement that philosophy, you need resources, and those resources are financed by have to be financed. So finance is a very important instrument for social change. And the law, as our preamble says, is the instrument to deliver on social, economic, and political justice. So I was interested in both these streams, not a career. Like I still say, I was not interested in a career that I want to be this, I want to crack this examination. But I wanted to understand these two subjects. So there was only one course in the entire country that offered a management degree in finance, a postgraduate degree in finance and business law. That was by National Law University, Jodhpur. And it was a great time to be at National Law University, Jodhpur. Whatever your new, I mean, so many things happened and I stayed at the college for 3 years. And a lot of things that we were studying there are now in your syllabus. The people were drafting, I believe the institute would also be working overtime. Your insolvency and the bankruptcy code, your merger of the commodities regulatory market with the SEBI, non-debt capital flows management shifting from the RBI to the ministry. The monetary policy committee of the RBI came. I mean, before that, the RBI used to have the single say and no outsiders were there in its monetary policy decision making. Many things happened. I mean, the inflation targeting regime, we adopted those regimes. All of that happened in the wake of the Lehman crisis. And probably, I mean, in hindsight, one can say that the syllabus has, we say that the Companies Act was introduced in 2013 and that's why we drafted our code. But everything came from that. The way we started to look our financial system from a different perspective. Everything happened and I was privileged to be a student at National Law University for those 3 years. So, and that is the time because whatever I was studying at my college, I found that the syllabus is insufficient. So I enrolled for the CS course and the CS material, as you must have discovered, if you're not reading Spectrum, I believe if Spectrum is still in the market, but if you have discovered, if you're reading from the study material, it's a treasure trove. It is written by some of the finest brains, I believe. I mean, you can sit with a pencil in your hand and try to find a single mistake in the curriculum, any typing mistake. And I think the director student service should also get some credit for it. But it's just very well drafted. And I keep on looking at the material even now once a year because the PDF is being uploaded on the website. So I keep on looking at it. So during my college years at National Law University, Jodhpur, I developed certain habits which I think were very useful for me in my future career. One was that I used to read 6 newspapers a day and 3 used to be financial dailies. So I read Business Standard, I read Mint, and I read Business Line. What it did was, it gave me the updated content on whatever is happening on financial regulation. Like if you recall, I mean, I think that used to be in our study material, that CS will, that the examination will come from this material as well as whatever is the updated law on the subject. So it expects you to be updated even if the gadget notification has happened 15 days ago. That is part of your syllabus. You have been warned. I don't know. Obviously, the questions don't come usually, so that the pass percentage remains at a modest amount. But you are warned beforehand. So I took that warning very seriously. So I used to search all those financial dailies that what is the update that is happening. And I'll come to it, what is the benefit of it. So later on. So I read 6 newspapers a day. It's a habit that I have tried to keep even now. I don't read 6, but I read a couple of newspapers still. And now I did my college and I got a campus placement. My college has 2 master's courses. One was an insurance course and the other was this management in business law and finance. So one day HDFC Argo came and it was taking interviews for the insurance students. So They took the admission, they selected the number of students they wanted to, and they still wanted to have, we'll try one more. So somebody had an idea, the placement committee had an idea. They said, maybe you should try someone from our MBA finance students also. So they called me and they said, I don't know why your placement committee people have asked MBA finance student when we are getting all those MBA insurance student and my batchmates from insurance were very good. They had all those associate degrees and the licensed degrees that I think IDA offers. So they had all those degrees. And so they asked me that, do you know anything about the insurance business? I said, no, I don't know anything about the insurance business. But I know that it is based on probabilities. And probabilities is in the Mahabharata. So they started laughing that there is no probability in the Mahabharata. I said, no, there is a probability in Mahabharata. They asked me, how? I said, you are well aware of the story that Yudhishthir lost Draupadi in the game of dice. And I said that it means that, and dice is all based on the law of probability. So I said that this is very clear that Yudhishthir was not good at probabilities. But later years, if you read Mahabharatas further, you will discover that not only he became a teacher of the dice, when he was in this incognito, the Agyatwas, he became a teacher of dice game. And he became so good that the second time nobody challenged him. Let us settle the matter by playing dice games. So how did he learn? So that he learned because there was another gentleman in our mythology who lost his wife to a dice game. But who the Raja Nal lost. So when Yudhishthir was wandering through the forest, he met a person. He met a person who said, can you count the number of leaves on this tree? So Yudhishthir said, that's impossible, it will take a lot of time. So that person says that get me a branch and just tell me how many branches are on the tree, and I'll just count one branch and I'll be able to tell you that what is the number of leaves on this tree. So that is the first recorded incidence of probabilities in the history. So I said that this is probabilities, and your whole subject has developed after the your insurance was always a hidden, the law of probabilities was always a hidden science because people used to play dice game. And this dice game was later adopted into actuarial sciences when London fire broke out. So they were deeply interested in this story that they offered me a job. So why I told you this detailed story was that of whatever Mahabharata I read as a child or in later years, got me a full-fledged job in HDFC Argo, which was meant to be for insurance people. So I said, I don't know anything about insurance, but I know sufficiently about risk management. Now, at the same time, I cleared SBI also. Now, I was almost about to join, but a thought came in my mind that my legal education is not complete. I only have a master's in business law. And that makes me, at best, a paralegal. Well, whenever I'll give a legal advice, somebody will ask, is he a lawyer? If he's not a lawyer, I'm not going to listen to him. So I said, now I'll do law. So HDFC Argo is, I think, headquartered in Mumbai. They offered me a job at Mumbai. I wrote an email. I researched that you have an office at Delhi. So if you're giving me Delhi office, I'll join. Otherwise, I'll not join. So they said, no, we can't offer you Delhi now. And you have to join at Mumbai. So I declined that opportunity. It is not that I had many other opportunities waiting for me, but I declined it. And there comes a very important lesson. That often in life where we reach depends not only on the opportunities we take, but the opportunities we let go. So I didn't go to HDFC Argo. I was very keen to do bachelor's in law. I wanted to do LLB from Delhi University because I wanted to be on surer ground when I do financial regulation and business laws. So I took admission in Delhi University, and after 1.5 years of college, RBI came with the recruitment. So I appeared for that examination, and I had a very interesting interview in Reserve Bank of India. So I cleared the written examination. They called me for the interview. So they asked me this particular question that, do you think there's a trade-off between growth and inflation? So I was a regular reader of the newspaper. I said that Mr. Rangarajan, the ex-governor, has written so and so that there is a trade-off. So they say, no, he met me yesterday. He was saying there is no trade-off informally. So I replied that I will be able to verify this only when I actually meet him. And for that, you have to select me so that my probability of meeting him increases. And they gave me very good marks. I topped the Reserve Bank of India examination. Again, Reserve Bank of India told me that you have to be posted at Chandigarh. So I told them, no, I have to finish my law degree. So I'll leave Reserve Bank of India unless you allow me. But RBI being an institute which focuses on a lot on their employees' learning, etc., they accepted my request. And I finished my law course from Delhi. And it was during working at the RBI. Now look at how I do things. I'll study international business and finance because my mentor advised me. Then I later decided to do masters in business law and management because I wanted to understand whatever is happening in the world. Then I wanted to be sure of my own learning. And finally, I chose an employer I want to work with. I had 2 years of experience, almost 2 years of experience working at Reserve Bank of India. It was a great experience. You might ask me, why did I leave RBI if I enjoyed it so much and end up writing the IAS examination? Now, RBI works a lot in coordination with the various ministries, particularly the finance ministry. It works a lot with them. Now, I noticed that often there is an IAS officer who is member of these deliberations. And I realized that he's younger to the people in the RBI. So my mind noticed that probably doing the same thing, the trajectory is faster in the IAS. So I discussed with a couple of seniors and they said, yes, what you might get an opportunity to do in 30s in the IAS, you might get an opportunities in 50s in the RBI. So I said, then no, I'll have to write IAS. So that's how I wrote IAS. So I wrote the IAS, and maybe I should tell you that I had great difficulty in clearing the examination, etc., etc. But because I was reading 6 newspapers for, 5-6 years, so I was very well versed with current affairs, and I was so passionate about the law that my optional was quite easy for me. So clearing the IAS examination was easy. I often say that to people, so they think that I'm not being truthful. But I actually had a full-time LLB course. I had a full-time job in the RBI, and that was the time I cleared the IAS. But clearing the IAS is just one step. I told you this entire story is that as you write this examination, and if you don't know the way ahead, just remember that it's okay to be confused. What is important is developing good habits. Why these habits matter is that right now everything might be confusing, everything might look dark, you might be disappointed with the results, you might be disappointed with the outcomes. But what good habits do is they make you attempt the same thing again and again. And consistency, if you will realize, has far more impact than genius. Whenever I tell my story to anyone, I said that I'm telling you my story not because you should get inspired by noticing how hard I work. You should get inspired by thinking that if people like this can clear the IAS, I can also clear the IAS. So I often quote my story like that, that that ordinary people can clear the examination if they have been consistent. Consistency does not mean that you become rigid, but consistency means that you develop good habits and do things that you love. Had I not been fond of reading, because now if you look, everything is a pattern. I developed a natural affinity for company secretary because that is the only course that is so much based on reading the fine print. You discover the comma, you discover whether something was, I mean, you go through the preciseness of the minutes of the meeting, you go through the preciseness of the drafting of the articles of association. So I was fond of reading at a young age. So I developed a natural affinity for the company secretary course. Why did I develop the further into the affinity for law? It goes back to my habit of reading, because as one of my professors used to say that a lawyer reads. It's okay if you can remember, but a lawyer will at the end of the day read the law. Even to the court, he will read the law. The judge will read the law. So develop good habits, be consistent, and second, do things which you love. Like I didn't miss out on the movies, I didn't miss out on the plays, I didn't miss out on the music. All those things help me today when I meet people from different perspectives, when I meet people who have different interests, who have different outlook on things. And one lesson which I have learned in my profession, while I know that there's some time when, so there's still some time where you will get your degrees and start profession is, that helping others get what they want often gets you where you want to be. That this could be true about helping a small-time entrepreneur. You help him with the compliances, you help him with the starting a company. Help him get what he wants. And a day will come when he will return that favor. And even if you don't expect it, but that's the law of the karma, that you will get where you want to be if you help a lot of people get where they want to be. So I think my clock says that I've run out of my 30 minutes. So this is all I want to say today. And I'll thank the Institute for the opportunity to address students and maybe help them understand that it's okay to be okay to be confused, it's okay to be wayward, it's okay to be chasing your heart. Once again, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mr. Avi, for your influential message and for guiding our students. We were delighted to have you here and listen to your expertise and motivational address. Many students across the country attempt the UPSC exam every year, but only a few are able to crack the same. And many give up after 1 or 2 attempts, but you are a perfect example of hard work and dedication. We are once again thankful to you for having agreed to guide and motivate our students. Now I request our Joint Secretary, Sir, Mr. A.K. Srivastava ji, to give concluding remarks and propose vote of thanks.
I'm happy that today, after having interaction with Mr. Avi Prasad, IAS, our students must be not too much beneficial. They must have noted a lot of practical tips while he was deliberating the thing. His style was so lucid, so interesting, as if He's just talking, and during that discussion, when he's narrating his own life story, he's giving a lot of practical tips. What a beautiful line. It is okay to be confused. When a student generally pass class 12, they are on a crossroad. They are at the stage of confusion. Which line I should go? Which line I should adopt? If at that time they get a proper guidance, and if they get a proper mentor in life, that can lead to the road of success. As he got the proper mentor, that led to the road of success. In spite of you put a lot of efforts, in spite of you do your best, luck and destiny has a very, very vital role to give shape of your future. He emphasized on that also. He was having a very good habit of reading 6 newspapers since student life. And that habit helped him a lot at various occasions whenever he was going to appear in any interview. So underline word are develop good habits. These are good habits are going to pay you in the real need of hours when you are going to perform, or when you are going to interact, or when you are going to appear in a personal interview. You never know when these good habits are going to give you the benefits. And the last but not least, he said helping others what they want may actually ultimately, during the process, you will end up to get what actually you want. So just develop a habit of helping others. Hidden line is that actually you are going to get what is your goal. Beautiful lines, beautiful words. Mr. Avi Prasad has shared his life story, but during the discussion, during sharing this life story, our students must have noted a lot of practical tips, and I'm sure they are going to get benefited in the future. Mr. Avi Prasad, we are really thankful to you. On behalf of Institute of Company Secretaries of India, I express my gratitude to you for accepting our request. These students, our dual exams are going to happen very soon. Our students across the country, lakhs of students are going to appear in the examination. And this is the right time when they should get the right capsule of motivation. This session is going to provide them a right motivation and the encouragement. So even if you get failed 1 attempt, 2 attempts, hardly makes any difference. He was emphasizing all these things that even he can become IAS. So even if you are failing, even if you are facing the hurdles, don't get disappointed. That was the underline words. Mr. Prasad, we are indeed grateful to you that you spared time for our students today. We are also thankful to our Vice President, CSB Narasimhanji. In spite of his busy schedule, he spared some time to be with us to guide the students at this right juncture when they are going to appear in the examination. We are also thankful to, sir, we are also thankful to you. You spared some time out of busy schedule to be with us this afternoon, to be with us. And at last, but not least, thank you very much, Gitanjali, for conducting the show fantastically. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful concluding remarks and for summing up the event. You are always so motivational. And I once again thank Mr. Avi Prasad for joining us today live and motivating and encouraging our students. I'm also thankful to VP sir and Srivastava sir. So students, we are sure that you are going to work strategically for your examination now and will make us and your parents proud. So thank you very much once again. Good luck for your examination. Thank you all. Thank you.